Just testing to see if we're live, testing. No. Just testing.
Hey, hi Bam. How you doing?
Oh, hey, Bam. Hey, Tati.
Hi guys.
Great to hear from you again, Bam. How you doing?
Great. I'm still studying on cadence. Working
Nice.
hard.
Awesome, yeah. You must be very busy over there.
That's great.
Gonna start the event. All right. And I'm just gonna. Cool. Hey, Calcoin. Oh. It always stinks because I know that this time is very late for you, and Bam as well. I don't know if any of you have heard of Elton John, but I went and saw his concert last night. It was really cool. Hey, everybody. As always, we're just gonna wait a few minutes for people to trickle on in. Takes a few. Hey there, Leo Brazil. I hope I'm saying that right. Hey there, Ocean.
Yeah, that's okay.
Nice.
Hello.
Hey. Hey there, Thomas Spin. Good to see you. Not Bean. Good to see you as well. Captain Gino. Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Another day in paradise in Tampa, Florida. Love it.
That's awesome. C3P Flow. I've never that's really smart. I love that name. C3P Flow. I should have thought of that. Oh, we got Tommy in the house. What's up, Tommy? Gonna wait 3 or so more minutes. Oh, there's Julian. What's up, Julian?
Good morning. It's super early in LA.
Yeah. Yeah, the time zones are always so screwed.
Yeah, super early.
Thanks for joining, though.
Yes, sir. I wouldn't be anywhere else.
What's up, E2? Think you're a sneak. Bob, Rob. Wait, what's up? Oh, and we got Bruce. Hey, Bruce. Bruce, I don't know if you can hear me, but did you want to do like a little overview of your current project? You can type it in the text channel if you want to talk it out, but I'll include the slide in there just in case you want to. All right, so one more minute and then I'm gonna kick things off as usual.
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I always have the hardest time finding the text channel.
So it's actually, if you look on the left-hand side and you scroll like all the way to the top, you can see we're in the town hall voice channel, and then the text one is right above that.
Got it.
Yeah. I think Dean was gonna join today. I don't know where Dean is, but he might be trickling in soon. All right. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Thanks, Calcoin, for sending the screenshot. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. And I'm going to start the slideshow. So let me know if you guys can see this. Is it all good? All right, I think it should be all good. Cool. All right, so here we go. So town hall number 4. This is actually our 5th town hall. You know, we started indexing from 0. But yeah, this is our last town hall in season 0. So kind of a big marker because a lot has happened during season 0, including, you know, the reputation system, Emerald ID, documentation, all that stuff, which we're going to go over. But yeah, so just keep in mind that this is the last thing that we're going to do for season 0. And then starting next time, we're going to be officially in season 1. So this is sort of like a wrap up to what's been done. So, you know, as always, we're going to start off with the building guild. So here's the Emerald bot, right? So big deal. Emerald ID is on mainnet. So this is really big for us because, you know, originally it was on testnet. And, you know, with all the tooling that we create in Emerald City, of course, it's going to start out on testnet because, you know, it takes time to deploy to flow mainnet. It also, you know, takes time to get it approved. And you also don't want to mess it up, right? Because if you are developing a tooling and then something goes wrong, you know, if it's on mainnet, it's kind of stuck there. But after a lot of testing, I'd say probably like a month long of testing, Emerald ID proved to be fine. And so hence, you know, Emerald ID is now on mainnet. So big virtual round of applause to everyone that helped on that. I'm seeing BR text as you can attend. Okay. So yeah, so this is on mainnet. So that means that when you go to the Emerald bot and you now create your Emerald ID, it's on mainnet. So it's you know, it's actually there. It's not like a test anymore. So that's all really cool. Another update is the Emerald bot is now added to the Barter Yard Club. So this is just another Discord that we've sort of integrated with. They're a really cool project, actually. If you want to check them out, they are implementing NFT swapping on Flow, which is really cool. So it's not just like, you know, fungible token swapping, but you can actually swap your NFTs back and forth. So it's pretty cool, and their community is really nice, and they've got a lot going on. So shout out to all the people in the Barter Yard Club that were helping us test out, and I would definitely check them out. I could provide the Discord link after this call if anyone's in. And the last thing I sort of want to mention on behalf of the Emerald bot is that we need to update the documentation. So I can sort of do that as well, but I'm not sure if people are like interested in sort of like keeping documentation up to date. It's not going to be too much. We just need to like change some of the screenshots to be the new Emerald ID. And that should be all there is. So so yeah, and I would go through like a sample. Actually, I guess I could do that right now. Why not? I wasn't planning on doing this, but like I think it should be cool to do this anyway. So let me actually go ahead and show you all what Emerald ID is now. So if you look in the Emerald ID channel under the important category, there's like a slight description of what Emerald ID is, and then like what the buttons are here. So you can actually go ahead and click on the verify button here, and if you click on it, it'll obviously for me it's saying you've been given the Emerald ID role, and it's saying that like because I already have it. Now this is the cool part about Emerald ID is that in collab.land, if any of you are familiar with collab.land, oh thanks Gil. But if any of you are familiar with collab.land, you have to verify yourself every single time that you want to get like a verification. So if I am in one DAO, I have to say, okay, verify me, and it takes me to the webpage to verify my account. But if I'm in another Discord, I have to do the same thing, right? But the cool thing about Emerald ID is that it's all stored on mainnet somewhere, almost like a database, you can imagine. So when I'm in Emerald City, I can click on verify to get my Emerald ID role. But then I can also go to find. Let's go to find, for example, and go to verify find name and click on verify here. And I also have it here, right? So I didn't have to verify myself at all. It already knows who I am. And that's sort of the cool part about Emerald ID. Now, of course, you can go ahead and like reset it if you want. So if you are not happy with like what account you link to your Discord, just as sort of like a slight disclaimer, you can only link one account to your Discord, and you can only link one like Discord to your account. So you can't like can't add multiple accounts to a Discord, but that's sort of like part of like the verification process. But if you want to, you can go ahead and reset it. So if we actually go to this link, you can log in with your Blockto here, and then just reset your account, and then reinitialize it. So I'm not going to do that. I would if it was on testnet, but it's not worth like going through the process since I'm mainnet. But definitely check this out. And if you do that, once you initialize your Emerald ID, you can click on verify, and you'll get the Emerald ID. So that's just one thing I wanted to. All right. Oh, that's the. Okay, cool. So yeah, so that's sort of what I wanted to go over there. Now, switch back to the text channel here. Okay. So the next thing. Oh, nice. You did it, Captain Gino? Nice. Yeah. So hopefully it was smooth and everything. So that was sort of a description of what Emerald ID is. So it's a new system that allows you to only ever have to verify yourself one time, no matter what Discord you're in. After you do that, you can verify your token holdings in any Discord without having to log in every time. And to anyone that's watching this, if you had set up the Emerald bot in your Discord previously, it's disabled now. I manually disabled it because it's on mainnet now. So if you're having troubles, it's just because you have to rerun your setup command. So that's just in case anyone's watching. Okay, cool. So the Emerald City website, it's sort of in a similar spot to where it was in the last town hall. The only difference is that now I actually need to purchase a domain name. So I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with this sort of like process, but I actually have to find a way to purchase some sort of domain name in order to like get this live, whether it's like emeraldcity.dao or emeraldcity.xyz or whatever we want to call it. That needs to happen in the upcoming 2 weeks. And Dean, who's actually working on the website with the Genius team, thank you to them, by the way. But they will have like a live demo of that in the upcoming weeks. In the upcoming days. So I think by either like today or tomorrow or Monday or somewhere in the upcoming days. There's no rush, but that should be like a live invitation coming soon. So I'm really excited to see that. And as always, this is sort of like the mock-up of what like. Cool. Now, what everyone's most excited about for sure is the float system. So float is I love where this has gone in only 2 weeks. It's kind of miraculous if you think about it. How quickly this has progressed. It's like kind of crazy actually. Hold on. Okay. Oh, Support Monkey, are you here? Oh, hey Support Monkey. It's good to see you.
Sorry, I'm late.
No, don't worry at all. I'm just happy you're here. And good to hear your voice again. So yeah, so floats. Yeah, it's kind of miraculous, like how quickly this has progressed. Like literally, in the last town hall meeting, we were literally talking about like POAPs on Flow. We were like, you know what? It'd be cool if we brought this to Flow. And literally 2 weeks later, we have like pretty much a testnet version of it. So kind of cool how that happened. Also on Twitter, we got a lot of attention because I tweeted out that like cool little animation And yeah, Kelcoin sent that like little island in the chat. So why don't I actually pull up the Twitter, because that was sort of cool to see. So I'll just show you all the animation in case you haven't seen it. But on our Twitter page, I sort of tweeted out like, introducing Float, a flow-enabled proof of attendance platform. Float is currently being built in the Emerald City DAO, whatever. And then I did this little animation, and the reason for this animation was because I wanted to like not only like give thanks to the people that are in this diagram, so like Blockdo, Flovitar, Flones, Genie Ace, Basic Beast, Flowverse, Decentology, Party Goobs, Find, Graffle, Thing.Fund, and Matrix World. So all of these really helped us out in our initial phase, and so I wanted to give thanks to them. But it's also sort of like a tribute to the Flow ecosystem, in that we're building a participation tool for projects and DAOs on Flow. So what better way to sort of like advertise this, say that like to put all of us together in one little group. Because I think in many ways, even though each of us is sort of leading a separate project, I think all of us have sort of helped each other out at some point in time, and that I think is really unique to the Flow community that I haven't seen elsewhere. That's sort of why I envision it like this. And I'll just run the presentation really quick. This is by far like the most popular tweet that we've sent out, and it's been great to see a lot of excitement around it. So I guess like the end story there is that people are ready to use it, which is really good news. As always, the tooling that we create, we make sure that people are interested in it first. So that's sort of where we're at. So the current progress, like technically, is the smart contracts, transaction, and scripts have all been written. So I wrote out all the contracts, all the transaction and scripts. And thanks to Bam and others who sort of helped on the cadence side of that. But that's pretty much done. So if anyone wants to check out like what the current state of the contract looks like, or you're interested in learning like a real world cadence project, I guess, check out this link I sent here. I'll send the slides in the chat afterwards, but you can check out float.cdc. So it's a whole contract of stuff that that handles floats. There's also a metadata views file. So for those of you that still don't know, BRTech recently released the NFT metadata standard on Flow. And so this is sort of like the Float implementation of the metadata standard, so that you can also check that out. And then all the transactions and scripts are in these folders as well. So lots of cool stuff happening on the Float side. And even more cool, in my opinion, is that Andrea, most of you know Andrea, but for those of you that don't, he's a member of the Float team and also a huge help in Emerald City. I can't even describe the amount that he's done for Emerald City. But he actually sort of took on the task of implementing the front end. So if we go to this link right now, it's just deployed on Vercel right now. But you can actually check this out. So this is sort of what the Float platform looks like right now, where you can create an event. Let's go ahead and create an event. You can type in your event name, your description. You can choose a file that'll be uploaded to IPFS. You can configure your float, so claimable, non-claimable. What this means is that if it's claimable, that means that the user can claim it on this website. If it's not claimable, this means that the website is going to hook it up into the admin's account so that the admin has the ability to distribute these floats whenever they want. And what I mean by that is you can imagine that like right now, if I had a Twitter space, right, and I, wanted people who attended the Twitter space to get a float, I would make it claimable. I would say, you know what, maybe it's unlimited quantity because I don't know how many people are in my Twitter space. There's no time limit, and maybe there's like a claim code, right? That's like a GG, something like that. So I would connect my wallet, I would create the float, and then anyone could come to a specific URL. Let's say like, I don't know, like let's say there's like an ID, right? So they would come to this webpage and they would claim it. What not claimable means is that you can't go to a website to claim it. So it's not going to be on this platform, but this will allow admins. So like, let's say I'll just pick a random person. So let's say, Bullend, right? Hey, Bullend, by the way, it's good to see you again. So let's say Bullend goes and he creates a float event, right? And then he has an NFT project, and in his NFT project, he wants to give people a participation badge for buying an NFT. So he would make it not claimable, and then inside of his transaction that mints people NFTs when they buy it, he could give them a float in the transaction. So this is sort of like a way for admins to give people floats exactly when they want them to. So whether it's participating in a token sale, NFT drop, anything like that. So that's why we included that option. Now, some of the other options here. So unlimited quantity. This means that obviously there's no cap to the amount of people that can claim it. if you make a limited quantity, you know, maybe you could type in like 10 or 10, and then only 10 people can claim it. So the first 10 people would be able to get it. You gotta get the idea. Time limit, so it can be minted at any point in the future, or maybe not. So if there's a time limit, like when it's starting, so I don't know, this date, and then it's ending like 8, right? So after that time period, no one can claim it. The claim code, this is, you know, obviously a secret code. This is going to be like, you know, my secret code. We had a lot of discussion about how to actually handle the secret codes, because as you all probably know, it's like literally impossible to handle that problem unless you have a database, because everything on chain is public. But what we can do right now is we can store the secret code on chain. And so it's sort of hackable in that like a bad actor could technically go on the blockchain and like query that secret code and then hack it. But I don't think it's worth putting like a massive significant effort into deterring like 5% of people from hacking it. And as like in addition to that, right now, like even though theoretically on chain it's possible to sort of hack that, it's really hard to do that on Flow. Because like right now on Ethereum, there's like scripts and whatever to read the public chain. But as far as I know, it's like very, very difficult to do that on Flow. So either way, you would have to be like extremely technically like versed in order to actually hack this. So it makes much more sense to make this, yeah, user friendly. Thanks. Yeah, so it makes sense just to design this for the people that are actually going to be using this well. And as always, you know, these floats are sort of like a fun participation badge. They should not really be used to like give people like thousands of dollars. So you sort of get the idea. But this is where the current state of it is. Now, in addition to that, let's see. So we can connect our wallet if we want to. So right, so we connect our wallet, whatever. And then, you know, you can also find an event. So if you want to, like, let's say if I wanted to find an event, I could just type in a bunch of stuff. And then if I viewed it, right, it would go to a web page, which is the floats of this person, would display their floats, whatever, and you can check another address if you know. Yeah, exactly, Square Monkey. So that's pretty much exactly what we're gonna. Yeah. So yeah, that's the current state of float. I'm really excited about it, and I think, I mean, I would assume that by the time the next town hall happens, this will be live. So but the next time we all talk to each other, this will all be on testnet, and people will be using it. So really excited to show all of you what that looks like. So, and if anyone also, I will mention, if anyone is interested in actually, like, you know, obviously this is like really cool and all, but if anyone's interested in like adding to this or making it look really cool, we're always looking for contributors. We're always looking for front-end developers. So if you feel like you can add to this in some way, it could be literally anything. We're not restricting like, you know, who can add to this. It's very happy to have anyone contribute. Please reach out to me or Andrea. We'd love to have you, whether that's on the cadence side or front end side or literally whatever it is. Would love to have you there. Just wanted to mention. All right, that's the building guild. So now we're on to the governance guild here. So yeah, so governance. So make it a, what do you mean, Captain Geo? Make it a boat? Do you make it a float? Oh, a float.
Yeah, yeah, because you're floating. You know, the graphics is what I'm talking about. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was just being silly. I was just being silly. Sorry, I'm listening.
No, no, I love it. Do it again. That's great. No, yeah, maybe we should make it a I like that. Yeah, so big announcement in the governance guild. So yeah, season 0 is officially over. So boom, done. It's wraps. I think we had a great season 0. I mean, as probably all of you have seen, I mean, we've had like tremendous amounts of progress. So definitely something is working in Emerald City, and you know, I don't plan on changing a lot because of how well things are going. But this is sort of like a roadmap of like what happened in season 0 and then what should happen in season 1. So I don't know if you all remember, but like a month and a half ago, we did like a whole document describing like what we wanted to do during season 1. I think the document's more of like a formality. I mean, none of us ended up using it, but it was cool to go back and look at it after a while. So if we want to, I would propose like potentially making a new document, but again, I think it's a formality, and if all of us agree that it makes more sense just to keep doing these town halls every 2 weeks, and that's fine with me. But I do think it is very helpful to get a list down of what we want to accomplish. So during season 0, if we sort of take a look back at all of our amazingness, we basically developed an Emerald bot from nothing. So there was no bot, nothing, and that is now on mainnet in a bunch of Discords. Emerald ID, which is sort of like a very unique, I think, implementation to like Discord verification. So that's really cool. Documentation, we have a whole documentation page. Telcoin, do you mind linking the documentation in the text chat? I don't have the link to it, but it'd be great if we could sort of take a look at that. So documentation, figuring out the reputation system. So I can't even put into words like how many hours and hours we spent talking about the reputation system. Okay, yeah. So really quick, let me pull up the documentation. So this is also something that I'm really proud of, and I think we don't talk about a lot, but every single time that people go to use the Discord bot, they always are coming from the documentation. So I'm really happy this is out there and people are using it. So I think the most important ones are like the how we function. So like what are guilds? Why are we separated into guilds? The different guilds that are here: education, building, and governance. So if we take a look, like who we are in the education guild. So I'm not going to go over this because obviously all of you know this, but it's sort of like a description of what these are. Under the education guild, there's educational resources for you to use. For the building guild, obviously this is like the building. So if you go to the products, there's Emerald Bot, there's Emerald City webpage, a list of stuff we're developing. And this probably, so whoever wants to update the documentation, we probably need to update this as well to be like maybe more descriptive of like what's actually going on. But anyway, yeah, so that's that. Then the Emerald Bot, which is also, pretty significant. And this documentation needs to be updated a little bit because you can see that like it looks a little different. But if you're interested in setting up the Emerald Bot in your Discord, this is still good to go. So if you want to get verification in your own Discord, just follow these steps. They should be pretty clear. I tried to do my best with these. But yeah, so that's that. And then the governance guild. So lots of talks about what reputation systems, how skill points will be used, all that stuff. And then one other thing that I added under resources/themes. So a couple people were like, telling me, well, I'm really interested in contributing to Emerald City, but I don't know like the main like color schemes or the logos. So all of our logos are actually here. So this is the Emerald City one. This is Emerald ID. I have to actually add the flow one. The flow one's this one right here, top left. I have to add this one, but I'll do that after the meeting. Backgrounds, icons. So we use these for the governance guild, all that, colors. Here's like an example of our color scheme. So all that's there as well. And then of course a town hall meeting record here. So thanks. Yep. So that's documentation. Let's go back to what else there is. So reputation system. Yeah. So we had tons and tons of talks about reputation. And I think besides float, I think float will probably be the most significant thing we do during season 1. But I mean, definitely up there with float is the reputation system. So that's going to require a ton of effort on behalf of the governance and building guilds, but we'll get to that. During season 0, we also came up with distributed governance. So decentralized and distributed are very different. And I think they're important distinctions to make, where decentralization is sort of like, everyone is involved, but, as we've figured out, that's not always the best case scenario. And so we come up with like a sort of distributed governance where there's certain governance leaders, but everyone still has the ability to sort of manipulate those leaders if they want. The start of float, founding our treasury, which I'll get into, and then that's that. So season 1, float, beta version of the reputation system, educational platform, which we'll get into in a bit. And then I think, we should maybe do some thought around what else we want to do. Because Emerald City moves at literally the speed of light, it might make sense to start looking into what other tooling we want to build. So, first it was Emerald Bot, then it was float. What will people want next? So, if anyone has any ideas, we could definitely add that to the list. Or, as we always do, like reach out to other DAOs and see what they need. So that's sort of where I'm at there. I'm going to pause on this slide for a bit because I've been talking a lot, and in case anyone wants to sort of talk about like, because this is really important, these distinctions. And if anyone has any ideas, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I mean, if the main function of EC is to facilitate new people coming on to Flow, and Flow is very much about making NFTs, then something that maybe further implements hyperverse or creates some kind of pipeline for projects that are currently on other blockchains who Flow wants to bring on to their blockchain to get the tools to quickly implement whatever they're doing anywhere else onto Flow. So maybe some way to wrap Flow with other things, or mirror NFTs, or I'm not. I'll get outside of my skill set, but things that implement other projects moving from Ethereum to Flow would seem a ripe space to look at.
That's really interesting. So you're talking about sort of like projects that are maybe on Ethereum that like are looking into Flow, and we sort of have like a pipeline to allow them to sort of go down and get their projects on Flow.
Absolutely. Like, I saw a project on Twitter, I think it was last night or this morning, that did a free mint with Rarible. And it's like, hey, don't pay high gas fees. That's such a good selling point that, hey, come mint your project on Flow. Don't worry if you don't know how to use Flow. If you know how to use Ethereum, just do this and this and this, and your stuff's now ready to go.
Yeah, that's great.
On Flow with no gas, or low gas.
So would that almost be like an API to Flow?
Yeah, I mean, that in a large scale, it could be an API. It could also just be something like wrapped Ether, but wrapped float, some kind of way, some kind of wrapper for any given asset on any other blockchain, or some kind of bridge to Polygon. Basically just ways to onboard projects to Flow, to lower barriers to other projects. Because like, there are lots of artists who want to make NFTs, but then they go and they see the gas price and they're like, well, fuck, I have to spend $1,000 to even try and do this. It's too much. But they don't know about Flow. And if you barely know about crypto, trying to get into a smaller chain like Flow, it's a huge barrier.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention is that, so you mentioned the hyperverse a little bit. So I definitely want to get into that a little bit. So for those of you that haven't been involved in the hyperverse discussion, I'm going to simplify it a lot. But essentially, when we think about the hyperverse, think about smart contract composability. So what does this mean? Well, smart contract composability. Well, let me start with the problem. So right now on Flow, if you want to make an NFT project, right, you're an artist and you're not technically like well versed, right? So you have no idea how to write a smart contract. And most people don't, right? So you're faced with a problem, and the problem is, well, now you have to develop an NFT smart contract. So you can't do that. You have to hire someone to do that, and that's costly, expensive, and very like long, because you have to get the Flow team to approve your contract, which takes a month in itself. And the secondary problem to that is that you're deploying a contract that basically already exists on chain anyway, because let's say Jacob, let's say I'm an artist, right? And I want to develop an NFT project, and I deploy the NFT, smart contract that I paid someone to do. Now, someone else, let's say Support Monkey, also is an NFT artist, and he wants to deploy a smart contract. He's going to pay someone to do it, and they're going to deploy it on chain for his use case. But in essence, like, if you take a step back and look at both contracts, like, more broadly, they're the same exact thing, just with a different name, right? Mine's Jacob NFT, his is Support Monkey NFT. So where smart contract composability comes in is it's the ability for like somebody, a smart contract developer who's really good at Cadence, to develop an NFT smart contract that would work for everybody. So if I was an NFT artist, I wouldn't even have to know anything about blockchain or Cadence. I would just use this pre-deployed smart contract to spin up my own NFT project, and Support Monkey would use the same exact project. So that's where composability comes in, and I think that might be really important in this sort of category here, because what that allows people to do is that allows Web2 developers to spin up like complete dApps without writing any smart contract code at all. And two, it allows artists who are not technical to have a way to get their like talents out there without having to rely on other people and pay them tremendous amounts of money. So, if we think about like, even, in this use case, onboarding projects from other chains, we think about like an NFT project on Ethereum. when they come to Flow, they don't want to spend a month and a half auditing and deploying their own NFT contract. What we could do instead is we could deploy our own NFT sort of like contract that allows anyone to use it. So that's what Support Monkey was hyperverse.
And then crucially, because of where EC is right now in the Flowverse, you should be able to leverage your network to get EC contracts. If people come through EC, we could get Dapper to set up a quicker approval pipeline, and and that's what will create the flow through EC onto Flow to make a bad pun.
Exactly, because if
Can I ask
EC,
a question about that real quick?
oh yeah, go ahead.
So, if you have a project on Ethereum or Cardano, an NFT project, you're not talking about moving the entire project over to Flow. You're just adding a Flow mechanism to mint the NFTs on Flow.
So I think it's very interesting because I can see both use cases happening. I have a ton of people coming to me like pretty much daily saying, "Hey, like I'm getting sick of the gas fees on Ethereum, like I'm about to give up. Where else can I go?" And so those people are like literally interested in just completely revamping the project.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's I'm involved. Well, not like involved on the periphery with a friend of mine who has a project on Ethereum and Cardano. And one of the biggest reasons it was kind of delayed for a little while was because of the gas fees on Ethereum.
yeah,
You know, it just costs so much to mint high-end luxury photography.
yep,
Um, that project is called EndangeredMints.io, which is kind of what brought me to you guys. Yeah, check it out. It's currently on hold right now, but we're minting on Ethereum and Cardano. Why couldn't we just add? If you go, yeah, the mint one is on hold. Why couldn't we just add a flow minting process on that as well?
yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about, right? So, like, why not just add like a smart contract on Flow? Of course, like, then you get into problems with like, well, we have to go through the month and a half long deployment phase. We have to find someone that's, can actually write Cadence code, which is very rare in today's world. Hopefully not in a few months, but you get the point. But like, why not, just have that sort of like pipeline for people to be able to deploy on Flow as well? So I think what Support Monkey was saying is really important, where it's like, if we imagine Emerald City is making these composable smart contracts, it almost puts us in a position where Dapper can like sort of fast track these deployments through Emerald City itself.
Right.
So
Jacob,
yeah,
can I add real quick? So possibly for a first step, which might not be as difficult as trying to wrap a project and bring it over. How about if we basically use a front end very similar to Float, where there's just a lot of drag and drop down menus of things you would probably want to do with your NFT project, and based on the choices you make on that front end, it adds it to the contract, and then basically you sort of have a ready-made contract,
yeah.
in that way.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Because like I think what you're sort of bringing up is the idea that like if we are to make an NFT smart contract that's usable for all, like there are within the NFT use cases, there are like specific ones that are different. Like for example, some people don't want their NFT to be transferable. Some people want their NFT to have extra metadata. Some people want whatever. So what we could do is instead just have like a drop down that allows people to select what they want, and that would sort of like put that information into the smart contract, and it would handle that NFT as such, right? So I think that'd be really cool. Now, of course, this is like this idea of composability requires like a ton of like it requires a ton of voices and a lot of people to be involved, because you don't want to like you don't want to submit a composable smart contract to mainnet and then have someone be like, oh well, what about that use case? And you're like, oh crap, I didn't put that into the contract. So this would require a lot of people to be involved, but I think that's sort of what Emerald City does best, right? Is the ability to have a lot of people getting things going pretty quickly. So Davquater says, "True, Jacob. Today I've seen one person hopping into the intro channel with no prior experience with Web3 and using a pre-created smart contract of Rarible to build generative art." So there you go, right? So literally that. You can sort of think of like the Rarible contract as composable, like in a way. But that it's a good general example of how that would work. Allowing people to just spin up their projects without having to write any code.
Yeah, if I can tell you one more example, um, I think when SafeMoon launched, it kind of did a whole different thing as far as tokens because they had the tax system, and then I kind of looked at every sort of meme coin contract and all these other contracts that came after it, and they're all exactly the same. It's almost like one or two different templates, and everybody just kind of changed a few lines of code in that, but basically all the contracts are the same.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So
It's the same thing on Ether. Like, I forget the name of there's an open source company that spins out just all kinds of contracts. Even the ERC 721, like, coder developer base on Twitter, they make a modification and it like spins out almost like 4chan memes back in the day. They make a small gas change and then all of a sudden all of the NFT projects that are minting are using this new update. Like, for me, it's fascinating to watch it all proliferate.
yeah. So I think so. Yeah. So why don't I actually add to this list? Let's also put like NFT. So I think this would be really cool. And I mean, I don't see how this wouldn't be like a pretty big deal. Base and also, I mean, we're talking about NFTs, but I mean, this is applied to every concept imaginable. I mean, think fungible token, right? Or like any contract at all. I mean, of course, NFT is like the most basic example because everyone develops NFT contracts, but you can think about projects that like all deploy the same kind of contract and then end up, it ends up being the same thing. Like a marketplace, for example, it takes people months to develop a marketplace, and that theoretically could be turned composable. So that is season 1. So love the discussion we had there. I'm just gonna pause in case anyone else had questions. Oh, Captain Gino says, "I'm very new to stuff like this, and I appreciate the education. How do we donate to this?" Oh, so I'll get into that in a second. But thank you very much, Captain Gino, for saying that. Yeah, that's sort of the hope here is that like through these town halls, we not only get people excited, but definitely help people learn about the space. All right. Yeah.
I have one more idea.
Oh yeah.
This might be a little more ambitious, but it seems as though part of the problem on the flow side is that they have to audit the contracts. It would be kind of cool if there was some AI that could audit contracts. So we have the compostability side, which is sort of the user facing, user friendly side. But then if there was the back end side that could, you know, kind of make the audit process a lot faster, especially since many of the elements are going to be the same. Kind of get through those contracts quicker so that they can get approved.
Yeah, that's really interesting you brought that up, Julian. So I guess I'll sort of get into the weeds here for a second. So if anyone sort of spaces out, I don't blame you. But all this composability stuff is coming from Decentology. So I work at Decentology full time. I'm a Cadence / software engineer there. And this is exactly what we're trying to do with the hyperverse. The hyperverse will have, like, I guess you could think about it in the long run, built-in auditing into the system. And we've come up with a model where what's going to happen is the developers that develop these smart contracts, they are going to have like basically a built-in royalty structure where anyone who uses those smart contracts, they will pay a very little amount of royalty to those original developers. So you can imagine that part of the reason that this process is so beneficial to Emerald City is because if we can set this up on behalf of Emerald City, people will be paying. This is almost like a monetization strategy for Emerald City, where people will be paying royalty, of course, very little, to Emerald City for using these smart contracts, right? So that's sort of where royalty comes in. Now, Julian's talking about auditing. So how does that tie in here? Well, people that develop the smart contracts will be getting infinite royalty, right? Now, there's another group of people. So there's developers and then there's auditors. Auditors are people that are staking tokens on the validity / security of a smart contract. So if I'm a developer, I develop the smart contract, I get paid royalty for infinite amount of time, right? Cool. Now, let's say Julian and Support Monkey are both auditors. They will take their tokens that they own and they will stake their tokens on the security of the smart contract. So that's them saying, hey, this smart contract is secure. Okay. And so whenever someone uses these smart contracts, like the NFT one, not only the developer will be getting paid a royalty, but the staker will be getting paid a royalty based on how many tokens they staked. So it encourages people to stake tokens on something they think is safe. Now, where the interesting part comes in is that if something were to happen with the smart contract and auditors said, you know what, this is safe, but a hack was done and it was actually not safe, the auditor's tokens would be slashed, so taken away from them and given to the people that were harmed. So it's sort of a way of aligning incentives in this auditing layer, because right now, when you think about auditing, if you pay someone to audit your smart contract, there's no incentive for them to actually do it right, because you pay them like it's very expensive. You pay them like $500,000 to audit your smart contract. They go, they do it in the background. They say, okay, it's good. And then they are hands off. So you've paid them $500,000. You now put your smart contract on mainnet and someone hacks it. The auditors don't care. Why would they care? They already did their job. So there's no sort of like incentive there. But this is an incentive model where auditors are actually incentivized to do a good job, because if they stake their tokens and the smart contract does really well, they're getting paid an infinite royalty fee forever. But if something were to happen, their tokens get taken away from them. So that's, I know that's really into the weeds, but that's sort of what we're imagining is built into these hyperverse smart contracts. So I hope I didn't lose everybody with that, but you sort of get the idea. And I also wanted to tie in the idea of like the monetization strategy for Emerald City is to have those, royalty fees.
We're also crucially right at the beginning of the network. So like the contracts that get written now, it's like the formative contracts of any ongoing organization. So like if EC is at the beginning, the organization through which these things flow, it just gives you guys incredible advantage. Like as builders of things, it'll attract more talent. I really think 2022 is going to be the year of flow.
I think so too.
I'm biased.
I trust me, I'm with you there.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you there.
Been buying a ton of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back on that wave too.
So, can I say something?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Leo Brazil.
What we're talking about the audit, the token being staked on the smart contract by the auditor is the same system that you have, on Ethereum for decentralized insurance. You have the InsurAce company that the user can deposit money on the contract, and you can be on both sides, or on the people providing the insurance, or from those that are willing to protect them from certain hack on the protocol. So you have a lot of protocols that implement this kind of let's say way of working.
That's very interesting. I haven't heard of that before. But that's good to know. What is it? What is it? What is it called again? I kind of want to look into it.
Sure. I'm going to put the links in the Discord of all the protocol I know.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah. So I guess yeah. So it might be worth it looking at sort of like how they've done that on Ethereum. Yeah. So cool. So that is sort of the season 0 versus season 1 discussion. As always, it's a very open / relaxed atmosphere in Emerald City. So if tomorrow everyone wakes up and they want to go to the moon, then we'll go to the moon. So just keep shouting your ideas. Right. So this is a reminder. I pulled this from last week's town hall, but this is a reminder. Oh, actually, I forgot to update this. Wait, one sec. So Andrea is actually also Andrea is also in the building guild now. So I just want to move him there as well. So this is sort of a reminder of who is in charge of all these different guilds right now. So on the education side, we have Bam, Bjartek, and myself. In building, we have Dean, myself, and Andrea. And in the governance side, we have Kelcoin, Support Monkey, Andrea, Bam, Dean, and myself. So these are the people that are sort of going to be making like the big decisions about like funding and all that kind of stuff, which is sort of what I want to get into in the next slide here. So the Treasury. So we finally have a Treasury. I set one up. It's now, you can actually view it if you want to on the Flow view source. So Decentology actually funded us with 3,000 FUSD. So thank you very much, Decentology, for doing that. Round of applause to them. They're going to basically allow us to give out funds to people that contributed to Emerald City. So, of course, our plans at Emerald City are never to, leave people without some sort of compensation for what they've done. And at least the way I view it is that we're not only giving FUSD to people that, built, but we're also giving FUSD to people that learned, because we want to pay people for learning. That is sort of at least one of my personal goals in my career on Flow is to allow people the ability to learn without having to sacrifice other things. Now, of course, I mean, we can't be giving people billions of dollars for learning. So it's sort of going to be a very minor thing, but I think it's cool nonetheless to give someone a small amount of whatever for putting a lot of time to learn a new language. I think it's impressive. So we have 3,000 FUSD from Decentology. An extra 2,000 will be given in the whenever we need it. So in the upcoming week. So Decentology will be giving 5,000 FUSD total. So that's really great. And because season 0 is now over, in the next 2 weeks, so before the next town hall, these guild leaders will have to meet to distribute at the FUSD. So what that means is everyone who did work during season 0 should write up a quick outline of what they contributed, so that the guild leaders can review that and give out FUSD appropriately. So if we sort of look at like the FUSD distribution process, this is one example in the education guild, but you have the guild leaders and you have the community members. So both of these people, both the guild leaders and community members, will write up a doc of what they did. And that's up to you sort of as a community member. And if someone forgets to do it, I mean, we're not in it to like penalize anybody. So, I mean, obviously I have like an internal understanding of what everyone has done, but I mean, this is sort of like it's part of the decentralization process. And then, once everyone does that, the guild leaders will distribute to community members, who, and also to each other, but you can't give to yourself, obviously, for who that season. Now, of course, this relies on like sort of the trustworthiness / goodwill of the guild leaders, but I mean, everyone I've selected here has proven not only like trustworthiness, but just an incredible amount of kindness and willingness to help people in the Flow ecosystem. So I have no doubt there. Okay, so that is sort of how FUSD distribution will work. So again, if you did work during season 0, by not next Saturday, but the one after that, so when we have the next town hall or the first town hall in season 1, everyone who did work will receive FUSD from Emerald City Treasury. So boom, boom, boom. That is it. Now, last but definitely not least, the Education Guild.
Oh, hi, Jacob.
Oh yeah.
Can I add something quickly?
Yes, go ahead.
Like, if everyone have anything that want to donate to Emerald City, can we just send anything to this account? Like, you have anything, any collection set up, so whenever we have anything that wants to donate to EC, we just send whatever into this account.
Oh yeah, so if anyone is looking to donate funds to Emerald City, you can do that to this address right here, and that will be totally fine. So you can actually see it on the Flow view source. It currently has 3,000 FUSD. It has no Flow, but I mean, if you want to donate Flow or FUSD, definitely feel free to do that. I guess like as a slight disclaimer, like that won't like sort of like this is really all from like a nonprofit sort of sense. Like we're not in it. We're not giving back as of now, except for like funding people that are contributing to Emerald City. So there's no like sort of ties there, I guess. But much later down the road, I would say maybe like in a few months, the Emerald City token, again, from a hypothetical point of view, not to like promise a token or anything, but if Emerald City did have a token, then yes, that would, there would be some sort of airdrop plus like token sale, and then, people would be, you could tie your tokens into voting, whatever. But this is sort of like a very basic, if you have funds and you want to help Emerald City function and you want to help Emerald City pay contributors, definitely feel free to do that here. And all donations, extremely, welcome and would be grateful for anything. So that would go here. And also, I do want to mention that, like, not that this really matters, but I will be taking absolutely zero of these donations. So all of these, like, this distribution process, I guess this one right here, none of this will be going to me personally, because I just don't view myself as taking any of this, because I want to reward the, Flow ecosystem. So just wanted to sort of make that clear as well, in case anyone was curious. Cool. Oh, thank you, Captain Gino. That's very sweet. Thank you very much. So and we also probably will. I mean, for everyone, like, it does make sense for us as Emerald City to keep track of like who is donating. So because we do want to like sort of give thanks and give something back at some point. So we should probably set up some mechanism for keeping track of like what people are giving as well, so we keep track of that. Okay, cool. So, this might be the first town hall we actually end on time. I think the past 2 town halls we've gone like 3 hours. But anyway, so I'm really sad that Andrea isn't here, because I think he had a lot to say. Yeah, exactly, some kind of record. Oh, you know what, Calcoin? What might be interesting is maybe we should, on the documentation page, right? That's where we keep a lot of our information. Can we actually set up like a little chart of like who has donated, so Decentology, Captain Gino, etc. And then once the Emerald City website is live, we should get like a scroll wheel, so that it'll like show all the. Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, we don't have to do that now, but like just as like a food for thought. Of course this will be transitioned to the Emerald City website at some point, but you get the idea. So anyway, oh, you'd rather not? Okay, that's totally fine as well. So I won't do that then. But I guess we'll have that option for people in case they want. Totally fine. So insurance protocols. Oh, thanks for writing that up, Leo Brazil. Unlatched Finance, Nexus Mutual. Cool. Yeah, I'll look into these. I'll look into these for sure. Cool. Yeah, so I wish that Andrea was here, because he had a lot to say about these two. I guess I could pull up his message, because I want to show everybody what. Okay, yeah, so let me actually pull this up really quick. So in the Education Guild a couple days ago, Andrea had said he's talking to Figment Learn and OpenQuest. Both of these services offer tutorial/education tracks for various protocols, and Flow/Cadence are missing for now. So the current status. Figment will launch a DAO-like approach. Actually, why don't we look at these first before I start rambling? So let me pull both of these up really quick. So Figment Learn, I guess it's just what your classic like educational platform. Tagline is, we believe in a multi-chain future where one size doesn't fit all. They have some courses on here. Would be really cool to add Flow to this, right? So that's sort of what he's talking about. So Figment will launch a DAO-like approach in the coming weeks with some partners. I met with one of the founders yesterday and agreed that Flow will be one of the first additional protocols to launch. I will share more details in the coming weeks, so if you're interested in contributing, stay tuned. It will involve an airdrop of DAO tokens, whatever. So I guess Flow is coming to Figment, and I think Emerald City will play a very, very big role in it. So the past few weeks we haven't had too much going on in the Educational Guild besides just helping people with cadence and stuff, but this will be a pretty significant task for us to sort of take on. And then, also for OpenQuest, they're launching a learning platform. So they will simply be able, we can submit, tutorials to Flow and Cadence to OpenQuest. So here's OpenQuest. So they have like build on Ethereum, build on Solana, but like they don't have build on we'll probably add that. So yeah, cool. And then Bruce. Oh, actually, let me bring my Discord over again. So Bruce, I know that you. Oh no, Bruce isn't here anymore. Okay, so I guess I won't include it then. Yeah, let me share the links. So the links to that are this and copy that. There's Open Quest, and then here is Learn. Yeah. All right, cool. So Bruce also had something he wanted to share, although I think Bruce had to go, so I'll leave that till next time. Other than that, that's all I had for today. So, I'm gonna stick around for a while if anyone wants to keep chatting, but that's all I had.
Cool. Jacob, really quickly, two things. Well, three things. One, I think, and this might be a governance guild situation, but I think probably after season 0, you should be eligible to, receive rewards. I know you made that statement, but at some point in time, you'll be doing stuff and you should be eligible for that. And, if leadership changes, all those other things. So that's one. Two, where would people, where do community members submit what they've contributed during season 0? And then number 3, I had said in the chat that I had domain experience. So I already went and purchased, just while we were just chatting, emeraldcitydao.com. So I'll donate that to the situation. We just need to point it in the right direction and switch the ownership on it.
Oh wow, that's fantastic! Wow, thank you, Julian. That's incredible. So we'll definitely be using that because that's a big deal. So thanks a lot, Julian, for that. In terms of the contribution, yeah. So that's a great question. Because each of the because this will be decided on a per guild basis. What I would do is inside of each of the main channels. So under education, there's a main channel. Under building, there's a main one. Under governance, there's a main one. Write up a proposal and then tag one of the members of that guild. So if you want a default option, just go ahead and tag me because I'll respond to everything. But tag one of the leads. So let me go back. Tag one of these people in each of the main channels, and we'll add it to a list of contributions. And then because each of us is gonna meet in a group, so us 3 is gonna meet us 3, and then us 6. So, yeah. So if you submit it to anybody, we'll have the info.
Cool.
I'm really excited about the domain too. That's fantastic.
Sorry that I didn't consult what the domain name should be, but I figured Emerald City DAO, and if we could get the .com, then that would be better than a .io. But
yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, that's pretty much exactly what we want. So how do you come up with that name? I only asked because I am from Kansas. Wizard of Oz has always been close to my heart. Yes, I grew up dodging tornadoes. Well, funny enough, I also got it from Wizard of Oz. So, Wizard of Oz has always had a big impact on my life. I don't know why, but my this is just personal, but my dad and I always watch it together, and so it's always been really close to my heart. And definitely had a big impact on my childhood. But I also, because it's flow, I was thinking of well, what could we do that's flow like? And I was thinking of, for some reason, I my brain always goes to gamifying things. You can probably even tell in this Discord, there's a bunch of gamified elements in the icons or whatever. But I immediately started thinking of gems, and I was like, well, what gem is green? And I was like, Emerald. And then I immediately thought of Wizard of Oz, Emerald City, and was like, done. That's a perfect name. And I've honestly, I don't like to brag a lot, but I feel like I did a really, I feel like Emerald City is such a good name. I am so proud. That is one of my biggest achievements in my life is getting the brain power to come up with Emerald City. I feel like I just absolutely nailed it. Yeah, exactly. I nailed it. Yep. Currently bowing. So that's great. We have the domain name because Dean will actually be getting the live example out of the website. So we'll hook that up to the website. I mean, pretty like immediately, honestly. You too, Captain Gino. Thank you very much. Sounds good, Julian. Awesome. Thanks again. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. I haven't looked into that, but definitely do that. Yep, thanks for coming, Smart Monkey. So regarding composability, a single smart contract can be deployed. This smart contract will have the ability to deploy other smart contracts according to the needs of the creator. We can use the proxy smart contract approach on Ethereum to upgrade it if needed. Yeah, so this is a very, very interesting topic. Because on Ethereum, you can deploy smart contracts very easily using the factory pattern. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Solidity or whatever, but for those of you that are, it's easy on Solidity because of the factory pattern, where you can just deploy a new contract with new state. On Flow, this is near impossible. You can't do that because it's just not how Cadence is written. So I'm not sure. I don't think a smart contract can deploy other contracts. I would love to figure out how we could do that, but I don't think we can. But I think.
Hello.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, so I read a message on the Flow forum. I think it was Joshua said that a smart contract can deploy other smart contract. I will send you the link. So I think that first the first smart contract should be audited and granted by the Dapper Lab. So they kind of give you the right to deploy other smart contract by this first audited smart contract.
Wait, you could do that?
Yeah, I'm going to send you the link of the forum, the message on the forum I found.
Well, that's crazy. I mean, if that's true, then that's like wild. Because do you understand? Like that's like that would be massive for Emerald City. I mean, that would be like huge. That would be like huge. I've never even heard of that, but that would be like insane. Yeah. Yeah, and I will say that like because I do have a lot of so Bam said English, please. So basically what that means is that like okay, so the reason we're having this discussion is because so on Ethereum, Solidity is the smart contract language for Ethereum. So Cadence is to Flow what Solidity is to Ethereum. In Solidity, you can create new smart contracts inside of a smart contract, and that's usually called like a factory pattern. So what that means is like here, I can even like draw up a diagram. Let me like here, let's go on like Excalidraw. So if you guys are still seeing my screen, so that's a YouTube video I did. So what you could so let's say on in Solidity, right? So this is a smart contract, right? In Solidity. So what this contract can do is this can create new smart contracts. This in Solidity, this is called the factory pattern. So this is the factory pattern. The reason you can't do this or what I thought in Cadence is because like in Cadence, smart contracts are God, how do I explain this? In Cadence, everything is type-based. So what I mean by that is like, if we pull up a smart contract, like let's go to like let's go to the float smart contract, right? In Cadence, how you reference like a resource, for example, like let's say you wanted to talk about this NFT resource right here, you would have to say float.nft, right? So everything in Cadence is type-based. So a smart contract that like dynamically deploys other smart contracts doesn't make a lot of sense because of how that's typed, but apparently you can do it. So that's like game changing for me, at least. I did not know you could do. Because essentially what that would mean is that, so in our case, what that would mean is that Emerald City, so Emerald City deploys a factory smart contract like this. And so this is like, you can imagine this is like an NFT smart contract, right? So this is an NFT smart contract, and then what this could do is anytime someone wanted their own NFT smart contract, it makes its own one, right? Like that. So Tanjiro, I love your name, by the way. I've been watching the second season of Demon Slayer, so love that name. Oh, Andrea's here. Yay!
Hey everyone, sorry for being late.
No, totally fine. We pretty
Completely
much
lost track of time.
That's totally fine. We pretty much wrapped up, but great to hear your voice again. So Tanjiro says in Cadence, when creating NFTs and FTs, there's a flow standard. Is that somewhere? So not really. So a flow standard is sort of like, if you want to make an NFT smart contract, you have to like abide by a standard. So you have to say like, okay, like I'm going to implement the standard. Composability is different, where you have one contract like literally creating other contracts. Yeah. So Andrea, I guess one thing that would be cool is we were sort of talking about the educational stuff, like the Figment and the OpenQuest. Is there any updates on these, or I guess is this like something that's happening in the background?
Yeah, no, there is. So for OpenQuest, we're waiting for them to open source their website. So once it's open sourced, we can contribute learning paths via like a regular PR. So we don't need to like get approvals or pay anything. With Figment, what's going to happen is they launched their Builder DAO. Did I share the one pager or no?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I remember you sent something about Figment.
Yeah, let me. Well, it actually launched. So let me link the launch post. That probably has. So what they're doing actually is, I'm not going to say it's similar to Emerald City because no one is as cool or as awesome as Emerald City.
True.
But they decided to change their learning platform to be a DAO. So it's going to be called Builder DAO. And here I'll put the link in the office hour, like in the town hall office hours, in the town hall chat.
Nice.
And what they're doing is they're launching with an initial group of protocols, like the usual suspects, Ethereum, like not Ethereum, but like Solana, Polygon, Chainlink, etc. And I'm already in touch with them to kind of get Flow to be one of the next launches, right?
Nice.
And how that's going to work is they're going to airdrop Builder DAO tokens to a select group of people. Still TBD, like I still don't have the details, but essentially they told me, look, what we need from you is commitment from the Flow side, from like the dev advocacy side to support people who want to create content, and a list of people who want to create content so that we can airdrop them Builder DAO tokens so that they can propose tutorials and vote on other tutorials. So it's going to be via a voting mechanism, and there's like the top 10 most voted will be the ones that are accepted. So maybe Emerald City can help when it comes to like making a list of Flow content educators that should get airdropped Builder DAO tokens. Maybe we can kind of make a list from here, since there's a lot of community members who are building a lot of educational content.
Oh yeah, I mean the second that becomes like available, let's 100%. Let's think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just a matter of proposing tutorials and voting on them, making sure that we get up top. Actually, since then, I've also been in contact with a third platform, which is called BuildSpace. I don't know if anyone's heard of
that's a
it.
big one.
Yeah, buildspace.so. So that's a paid one, which I'm going to work internally to make sure that, you know, if that there's budget. If that gets approved, they kind of do the actual content. So it's kind of like a, you know, if we give them a certain amount of budget, which can also be in like native tokens, their team will go and build out like a project. I think they call them projects there. And there would be like the Discord, which is tightly linked to that project. But again, I'm sure like they would appreciate community members helping out and, you know, being like teaching assistants.
Yeah.
Not to mention that we could also, you know, those like that help, that educational help, wherever it is, still I think still should count in terms of Emerald DAO reputation, in terms of education. So yeah, but that's more of like a business development sort of thing, and I'll loop in the right people next week, make sure that we get we get that ball rolling, see if there's interest on the flow side.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then there's another one that's reaching out, and I'm meeting with on Tuesday. So like it seems like there's a dime a dozen of learning platforms. So we won't have any issue, you know, like finding where to put content. It's more like where do we want to focus our efforts, right?
Yeah.
And make sure that we create good content.
Yeah. I mean, build space is definitely. I mean, this is a huge deal. I mean, I guess for like the flow team internally, like I personally, I would focus on this one significantly because like.
Yeah, and no, but the thing is, they're not mutually exclusive, right?
Yeah.
Like I think if we work with them to create a course on build space, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be creating educational content on BuilderDAO or on OpenQuest, because people find things differently. It gives us an opportunity to create different like flavors of content on different platforms. And not to mention that on BuildSpace, they would be creating it. So we wouldn't actually be creating that content. We could help review it, but not actually create it.
Yep.
So I would say the more places we can get flow educational content on, the better.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I as always, wherever we can help, just
Yeah. And of course, also do like our in-house educational content, whether that be on YouTube, whether that be on GitHub. Maybe we have an Emerald City blog where we can post articles. Like I wouldn't just rely on external platforms. I think Emerald can kind of develop their own hub, right?
Yep.
Slowly but surely, especially if Dean is like working on a WordPress site, that makes it pretty easy to write articles without any technical knowledge.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. I mean, we could even like over time develop. I mean, I don't want to like reinvent the wheel, and like obviously if like other platforms are more popular, it just makes sense to go through them. But it would be cool to develop like some sort of hub over time of like just pure flow,
Right.
like geniusness.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Actually, sorry, I don't want to derail the conversation. I just wanted you all to see something I'm working on. I'd love your feedback on it.
Oh yeah.
What was it? Web3. So I'll paste it here. I'm trying to create a portal that can help introduce new people to Web3 as fast as possible. So you can choose how much time you have. So if you click on an essential, recommended, or complete, right? Like it shows you different content to go through.
Yeah.
How much time it takes, and you can if you open up the first item, like Flow Technical Primer, right?
Oh yeah.
There's a description, and then you can mark as complete, which counts towards your progress. And if you scroll up to the right,
oh, that's sick.
You have a progress. And try and complete all 4 of them real quick. Or actually go to essential.
Yeah.
And make sure that all 4 of them are complete. Yeah. Okay. Now go to progress. You also get achievements.
Okay.
So if you can...
Nice. That is sick, Andrea.
Yeah, and it's all open source. I'd actually love your everyone's feedback on what resources should be in there and in what order. And it's all on GitHub, so if you click on the bottom, you can get a link to contribute, and it's just like a single JSON file that you can add resources to,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
automatically read.
sick. I love it.
And if you go to complete, you should see someone called
Let's go.
Jacob. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a pretty
Let's
famous
go.
YouTuber.
True. Famous YouTuber. I love the sound of that. Wow.
And it also supports searching. So if you search Jacob, it should show you 2 results.
Oh,
at the
really?
top.
Wait, that's sick. Oh my god.
Yeah, because the Flow video course is yours as well.
Let's go. Look at that.
And the author, you see the author, the credits. I have to add links there, but
That is sick. Yeah, there should be, under the progress page, there should be a special achievement called like did all of Jacob's things.
yeah, absolutely, we can do that.
That is so funny. Wow. Okay. Well, this is
and-
pressuring because I have to like get back into this again. I stopped at resources. I have to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. But the video course is going strong, so that's good.
Yeah. Wow, that is lit. Oh yeah, I also I forgot to mention this during the this is like in case anyone cares, but like I forgot to mention this during the educational thing, but I actually updated the series to like instead of learn flow / cadence, it's just learn cadence now, and I separated
cool.
I separated all the flow stuff into like another series called like FCLJS stuff. So that's like
Nice.
so it sort of like helps people distinguish between like if you just want to learn cadence, you follow one path, and if you want to learn like the CLI / FCL stuff, you go the other path.
Right. Yeah, that's a smart move. Actually, that's something that we can take into consideration with this, because like what I'm trying to do with this website is anyone from Web 2 that wants to learn about Web 3, like I want them to get up and running as quickly as possible to build like a Web 3 dApp, right? So that means getting an understanding of how Flow works, getting an understanding of, just as like what would you do if you were to start over again, and in what order? That's what I want to make sure that people have a map to follow. And this is inspired by like roadmap.sh, where there's like just a bunch of concepts and resources for each concept that you can follow and tick off as completed.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, I mean this is an awesome concept. I love how it looks too. I'd say, I mean, I have like my own like personal, I guess, like recommendations. Like to me, like the Flow Technical Primer like probably isn't necessary because like I mean I've never read this in my life. And the Flow Paragon obviously is super essential. That's great.
But maybe not in that order, right?
Yeah, like maybe like if we want to lead people to like, I mean, I don't know. It's like if I was to start over Flow, like what would I be? You know, it's also because you have to ask yourself like, well, are people coming from like a Solidity background, or are they coming from like a Web 2 background? And those are very different.
Yeah. What could be interesting is actually maybe making different paths. So instead of having like 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, which is semi useful, it would be cool to do like, do you want to, are you new to Web3? Are you coming from Solidity? Are you like kind of help people adapt based on what they know and want to do?
Oh yeah, I mean that's exactly what I think. I think there should be like a like a user chooser background, like Kelcoin said. Like if you say like, okay, I'm from like a JavaScript background, you go here, and then obviously if they're from JavaScript, the first thing you point them to is like what's a smart contract. Whereas like if they're from a Solidity background, the first thing you'd probably point them to is like, okay, go to the playground.
And get a feel for how it's different.
Yeah, and like I would just say like go to the playground and do like this one, like the open hello world. And because if you're from like a Solidity background, all you want to do is just start coding. Like you want to break this, you're like, okay, why is that broken? And you're like, oh, I have to put string here, right? Like it's super. You just want to start writing.
Yeah.
Whereas like someone that knows JavaScript has no idea what the heck they're.
Yes, exactly. So really, I didn't want to like derail the conversation, but I would really appreciate if anyone wants to contribute to curating this page. I'll of course add you as the credits at the bottom or in the about page, and you can forever be considered a contributor to this. Or we can use it like what could also be interesting. I feel like everyone coming to Flow has to go through.
What do you say, Andre? I think you Might have cut out. But maybe that's just me.
Nah, he cut out. He cut out.
Okay.
Hey.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
Yeah, sorry, my internet, I think, broke.
That's
I'm
okay.
tethering from my phone. No, so I was saying that I think anyone coming to Flow has to kind of, regardless of what they want to do, they kind of have to know the same basics, right? Like cadence, Flow CLI, and yeah, just like understanding how to work around the Flow blockchain. So it would be cool to have a canonical learning path for those people that we can all like that any tutorial we make and any code sample that we want contributors from, we can point to them saying, oh, if you need to get up, follow this, right? And it could be just like a link to your videos or something else, but like we should have a recommended way to get up and running, which probably is flows 0 to Jacob.
Yeah, no, I mean, I I don't know how much I trust my own content. I guess it's up for others to determine how good it is. But like, if you are looking for something that like, I mean, like, is my interpretation of like what I think a 0 to hero is,
Right.
like I under the like repository, like you can even see under chapter 1 and day 1, I literally started out with like what's blockchain, and like I walk through like
Right.
what the blockchain is, like what a transaction is script is, and I also have like built-in quests here. So I don't know if I ever mentioned that, but like there are built-in like quests for people to submit to me so I can get feedback. So if you're looking for something that's like a, I would just want to learn blockchain, what's going on, like this chapter is really good with that. And then, then I dive into like specifically what's flow. And then beginning in chapter 2, you actually get into cadence. So I don't know, like just if that's
Got
helpful,
it.
but yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I don't know how much
Yeah,
people like
I
that
think
format, but yeah.
No, I think it's great. I'll definitely look into it and probably like I linked your course, but probably we can I have to think about it. But if anyone wants to contribute on GitHub, please, this is all open source. So
Yeah, awesome. Sweet. Yeah, and then I guess before we wrap up, just the things that are relevant. We also talked about like, we finished season 0, so like in the next 2 weeks we have to start like giving out funds, I guess. So like I guess we'll just like in our and then float. Yeah, so that was like the only other thing.
Did you talk about float during the hour? During the last hour?
Yeah, so we actually walked through like the whole like Vercel demo of it, which obviously is amazing. And I guess like the only other step here is to actually like hook up the transactions to Svelte, and then like I guess figure out a way to like
make it work.
Yeah. But yeah, it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I saw you wrote on the Discord if we wanted to work on it. I'm happy to do it.
Sweet.
I'm happy to work together on it.
Sweet.
Cool.
Yeah, Andre, I don't know how you do it because you must have so much going on too right now. It's crazy.
Well, that's the beauty of Svelte and being part of a cool community like Emerald, where you kind of get inspired quickly. So
it's such. Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. So I guess that's it for the town hall. I'll officially end things there. Thanks, everybody. Peace.
Peace.